Okay, so what I'm going to do first, I'm going to navigate to my personal space, and I'm going to double click on the STP template 48K that I made earlier. And there we have it. Snap is off, drag is crossfade. We have our audio tracks ready to go. So let's import the movie first. Now I'm going to be quite specific with regards to this, in the sense that we're going to import the movie that we're going to be using in the class today. However, the process is the same for any movie that you want to import at a different time for a different project. You just need to navigate to where that movie is stored. Okay, so the first thing that we do, we go to File, and we scroll down to Movie, and then we select Open Movie. Okay, we then navigate in this instance to the shared space, the MA2022 shared space in Edit Share. I'm going to be navigating towards my recent work hard drive. And you should find a folder called the Sacrifice Exercise. Double click to open that, please. And then you should have two folders, audio files, which we'll import next. First of all, we're going to import the movie. So open the folder, click on a film called The Sacrifice that was shot by Martin Kobelarz about 15 years ago, the very first film that he ever shot that I used for this exercise because it has no dialogue. He's now a cinematographer in features. Anyway, click open, and it's going to give this little dialog box, Open Movie. This movie contains an audio track, and then you've got two options: open the movie, extract the audio track. Make sure that both of those options are ticked. We want to open the movie, and we absolutely want to extract the audio track because we have no intention of using it. So click on OK. And there we go. So the movie gets opened up on the main timeline, like so. I'm going to click this little red button to close it down, and you'll see that it'll pop into the left-hand corner of the timeline, just about here. And there it is. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this audio file from the timeline. I'm going to actually delete that track as well. We do not need it. So if I want to open this up again, if I play, by the way, it'll play in that little window, and it's good as a reference for when you're doing broad brush kind of stuff like atmospheres. But when you want a little bit more detail, you can double click on it and it'll open it up in the main window. And indeed, you can actually resize it to your personal preference. I like it to be about this size, so I can see quite a lot of detail in the image for when I'm doing Foley, digital Foley, syncing the sound of Foley footsteps to the actions on screen, but it also gives me access to my timeline, so I'm not constantly moving the movie around. And if I close it down again, there we go. If I double click, it comes back in the resized proportions that are my preference. Okay, and that's how you import a movie into Logic Pro X. Next, we need to import our audio assets into the browser window. So I'd like you to click on the browser window here, or just type F on the keyboard. At the minute, the browser window is set basically with all my documents on my hard drive. It's set at all files. We don't want all files. If it's not already on project, click project. And indeed, there is one audio file in the asset bin, which is the audio file that was embedded in the film that I deleted off the timeline. I am now going to remove it by pressing the delete button from the asset bin. Okay, so let's import sounds. So click on audio file and select add audio files. So normally for other exercises, you would then navigate to the sound effects library or to any space that you've recorded, pre-recorded sounds yourself to import those sounds. Because this is our very first exercise in sound to picture post-production, I've already collected the files that we'll be using for this exercise, at least part 1 of this film. So I want you to navigate to the shared space, back to the sacrifice exercise folder, open that up, and you will see the audio files folder. Open that and you'll find some more subfolders. Film Part 1 Atmos, Film Part 1 Foley, Film Part 2 Foley. We're only interested in these two for today. So the first thing I want you to do is open up Film Part 1 Atmos folder, and those are the sounds that we're going to be using, and just click Add All, and they should all appear in this little window here. I'm going to go back, hit the back button, and I'm going to double click and I'm going to open up the Foley, Part 1 Foley. I'm going to click on Add All. And those are all the sounds that we're going to want for today's class. So once you've got that, click Done. If sounds are not 48K, these are all 48K sounds. If they're 44.1 sounds, for instance, if it's a music track, it'll prompt you, it'll ask you whether you want to convert the file to 48K to match the project. Go yes. On some machines that will be automatic, on others it won't be, but always go yes. Okay, and there they all are in our bin. They're all split up a bit at the moment, so under View I'm going to go to Hide All Regions, and there we are, it lists them all. I can drag this further out a little bit. I should be able to, it's a bit fiddly for some reason. There we are, I can drag that open, and you can see there they all are, including the wrought iron gate and the footsteps and the various Atmoses. I can close that down for a second now. Okay, so what do we do next? Well, what we always do once we've set up our project, our specific project, is save as. Never save, because if you save, it's just going to save it into the STP template. But we must save first, because what we don't want to be doing is working on files in the shared space. We want to copy all of this stuff into our own personal space, so only we are accessing those files, and therefore we won't get any problems with synchronization. We won't have any problems with too many people accessing just one file. So go to File, go to Save As. In the Save As window, type in the sacrifice exercise, like so. Navigate to your own personal space. So I'm going to navigate to Reese Work. And then I'm going to save. Now we could create a folder for this, but because we've organized our project during the template stage as a package, and we're going to copy the following files: audio, sampler audio data, space designer, and the movie file. When we save this, we don't need to create our own folder, because all of these assets are going to be included within the icon of our project. So click Save. It might take a little time to save the movie. And there we have it. Okay, so I'm going to close this down now. So I'm going to close Logic Pro down. I'm going to navigate to my own personal space, and there we see the sacrifice exercise. So I'm going to double click, and there we are, we're good to go. So from now on, every time you save, and you should look to save every time you do something significant, because one day you're going to do an awful lot of work without saving, and suddenly you're going to get the scary psychedelic ball of death, which means you've lost everything, particularly if the autosave on Logic is not working properly. So whenever you do something significant, go to File and click Save. click as you go, save as you go. Okay, and there we have it. That's it.